let me introduce you as Paul Nash, former clerk of the Worshipful Company of Plumbers and more recently past master.
And let me introduce you, Charles. Charles Brooks, you are the current master of the Worshipful Company of Plumbers for the ensuing year. Halfway through your year already, which will finish in October. And here we are to talk about the livery company and everything it's involved with.
Perfect. First question to you then, Paul. What is a livery company?
Good question. Livery companies have been around for hundreds of years. There are the ancient ones, and more recently we have modern ones. Plumbers is one of the ancient livery companies. They are the original medieval trade guilds responsible for overseeing, managing the particular trade or profession, the training, the standards. So with us, obviously, it is with plumbing. Still very much a current and a live industry. Some other livery companies, the trades have died out, and in fact they stopped creating livery companies, I think, in the early 19th century, and there was a good 100 years or more where no new livery companies were formed, and they started it up again, I think it was 1926, the modern livery companies as they're called. And in fact, believe it or not, there are 113 livery companies in the City of London. The most recent one was formed only last week, and that's the Worshipful Company of Communicators. Education and training and charity and giving something back, I think, is a huge important part of what a livery company is.
When I'm interviewing prospective members of the livery, I have four building blocks that I talk about. The first is craft, so protecting the ancient craft of plumbing and particularly lead casting. Secondly, the city. We support the Lord Mayor and all the initiatives that happen within the City of London, because we do herald, and all the livery companies herald from the City of London. Thirdly, it's charity and charitable purposes. We support apprentice plumbers and indeed other charitable companies that are involved in the water industry for sanitation and clean water. And lastly, the fourth building block is fellowship. So why do you join a livery company? It's actually to meet other people, to enjoy their company and to support the livery going forward. Allied to the fact that we do need to have modern purposes. Livery companies cannot survive in the past. They need to have modern purposes, and ours is very much thinking about the future of plumbing apprenticeships going forward and various other factors in the plumbing and heating engineering industry. Green plumbing, everything like that is crucial in the modern world to control climate change and make sure it happens.
How did you get involved with the livery movement and the Worshipful Company of Plumbers in particular?
For many years I was the solicitor to the Chartered Institute of Plumbing and Heating Engineering, the CIPHE. The CIPHE is one of the biggest and best known trade associations for the plumbing and heating engineering industry, and it was my privilege to look after them for 25 years or so before I retired as a partner. The CIPHE is very closely connected to the Worshipful Company. Why? Because CIPHE maintains the Register of Plumbers, which until Victorian times was maintained by the Worshipful Company. We do a lot together on the apprenticeship front, and as a result of that, Board of Trustee members and the Chief Execs would invite me along to the odd dinner or the odd lunch at the Worshipful Company. And it was through that connection that I became involved with the Worshipful Company. It's been a great experience. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. My time as a member of the Worshipful Company has been quite short. I joined in 2011, so it's been short, but I have really enjoyed it. And again, it's through the plumbing connections. Paul, how did you get involved?
Yeah, very good question. I think my time with the plumbers is only just a little bit longer than you. That was 2010. My first career, my main career, was in the Royal Air Force, where I did 35 years, and I had a fabulous career with them. I was coming to the end of my time in the RAF, and you retire at a reasonably early age, and I was looking for something else to do. And this job popped out of the woodwork, clerk to the Worshipful Company of Plumbers. And I thought, God, what is that? So I phoned up a colleague of mine, ex-colleague here, ex-Royal Air Force, who was clerk to another livery company, and asked him, what is this job of clerk? So he invited me down for a chat. I thought, I could do that. Anyway, so I applied, and they interviewed me, and they accepted me, and the rest is history, as they say. And I have to say, joining the Worshipful Company and the Plumbers, my quality of life took off. Now, I can do that because I'm ex-RAF. But no, it really has been an honour and a privilege to be in the livery company and everything that it does.
We aren't limited to just membership from the plumbing and heating engineering profession.
You and I are both good examples of that, aren't we?
That means to say that as a lawyer I have joined, but we have lots of other professions and businesses, and it's great for them, for those liverymen, to be able to bring their skills and what they can offer the company going forward. So it's a matter really of working out where you fit into it and moving forward. But for the first 2 or 3 years, my recommendation as a new liveryman is get to understand how the company works and how it fits into the city, how it fits into relationships at the Mansion House and the Lord Mayor, and how we support plumbing generally. Paul?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I suppose I'm in the fortunate position of having been the clerk for 6 or 7 years before I formally joined the livery company, and more of that in a minute. So I did gain a deep knowledge and understanding of the company, the livery movement and the city, and how it works and operates and the interrelationships. I mean, I knew nothing about the livery movement when I joined. In fact, a lot of people think livery, isn't that something to do with horses? But of course, liveryman means being clothed as of the livery. So we do have our robes, our gowns which we wear, and each company has a slightly different one so that you can identify with each other, and that harks back to medieval times. It's a fascinating organisation. It's about fellowship. It's about giving something back.
Paul, how did you feel about becoming master?
I was thrilled, actually. It's funny, I thought, having been clerk and supported and looked after some 7 or 8 masters in my time while I was clerk, I thought I knew it all, but I didn't. It is a unique experience. It involves not you, of course, but your family as well, and you get to see and do things in the city that no one else does. You get involved behind the scenes and seeing and doing things with your fellow masters from the other companies with whom you do create a very special bond. So it's something I feel greatly honoured and privileged to have done, and looking back, it's something I wouldn't have missed for the world. It's very busy, but it's very enjoyable, and the old adage is, you get out of it what you put into it. Well, that very much applies, I think, to being master of one of the livery companies.
Such a true statement. What you take out, what you put in. I was filled with trepidation, I have to admit, before I came master. One of the good things about being a warden is that you are tested on your speeches. So one of the things that filled me with dread is having to give public speeches. Anyway, as renter warden, you do one of the speeches actually at our summer banquet in July, and then as upper warden, you do the main speech at the annual banquet at Mansion House. And I felt that having got through those two and not being blackballed by the members of the court, I felt that I was ready, but not ready, if you know what I mean, to become master. It is a very busy time as master, but I am truly honoured and very grateful for my fellow liverymen to have voted for me to take up this position. It is a huge honour, it is great fun, but my goodness me, it is busy because it's just a one-year appointment. And I think my family will be delighted that it is only the 1 year because I might be able to see them and have a few holidays with them in the future.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I think of all the aspects of being master that exercised me most, it was getting the speakers, as you mentioned, for the various events, and particularly for the Mansion House banquet. The relationship between master and clerk and working with each other and for each other for the benefit of the company is critical to the success of the year. So yeah. But up to now, what has been your most memorable experience?
I think my most memorable experience is one which I shared with you very recently. The background to this is that the Worshipful Company of Plumbers and the Worshipful Company of Gardeners joined forces to ask the King and the Queen as to whether we could possibly make some new lead cast planters to commemorate their coronation. And the answer came back, yes, we would be delighted with those. And so we set to on, through our Plumbing and Workshop Trust, to make 2 very large lead cast planters, which are now gracing Sandringham House. But there are other fantastic highlights which I have had, which go from very different scenarios. I've been to 2 amazing schools, Trelaw School in Alton in Hampshire, and I've just recently come back from Mary Hare School in Newbury, Berkshire, which is a school for the deaf and which trains plumbing. And we had a lovely day there yesterday with a few liverymen to support their plumbing programme of level 1 and level 2 up to apprenticeship level. Absolutely fantastic. And to see and to experience how those schools teach and train and support youngsters who are suffering from handicaps or who have differences is just truly amazing. But then there are other special events, like being asked to form the Guard of Honour to the newly elected Lord Mayor at the show last November. Again, very few masters get invited to form that Guard of Honour, and again, a very special occasion.
Having been the clerk when I first joined and moving forward, I have noticed just how much the job, the role of the master and the wardens has grown in the 15 years I've been involved with the company. I mean, how does Penny, your wife, and your family feel about your role as master?
I think Penny is amazed that as the amount of time I have to spend on livery business, and what I would say is, for any new master or a prospective new master, is prepare well in advance. Whether it's preparing for speeches, whether it's preparing for committee meetings, because as master you sit on all the committees, and we have 6 different committees who support the affairs of the livery going forward. And I think unless you are properly prepared, the 7 Ps, as I was always told at school, you're going to sink. Penny, I think, has now accepted the fact that maybe I'm not going to be walking the dog quite as often as I would like to, merely because I'm going to be online on a committee meeting or preparing for the next event. But yes, it's a very busy time, but it only happens once, and I might as well make the most of it. I might as well enjoy it and go to those events and support those events that happen as much as I can.
Yeah,
Paul.
I agree entirely. Yes, for Sue, my wife, it was a unique experience. Like me, she knew very little about the city, the livery movement. As you mentioned fellowship. It is fellowship within the family. I mean, I like to regard the Plumbers Company as a family, and with our partners, our spouses, I think we all get involved and we all enjoy each other's company and being able to give something to each other. Yeah, it's been a thoroughly enjoyable and wholesome experience.
And also we're learning all the time. One of the lovely roles that the Master has in his year is to organise social events, which are informal events, slightly cheaper perhaps than going to Mansion House for the annual banquet, where we try and look at connections to the plumbing world. So for one of my events, we went to the London Archives at Clerkenwell, where we were able to see the historical documents in the collection of the Worshipful Company, dating back to the 13 and 1400s. And it was just an amazing experience to think that we are part of a company that has existed now for over 660 years.
Yes, indeed. So, moving forward then, Charles, what are your hopes for A, the role of Master, and B, the company?
One of my themes for the year was youth, and I'm very keen to be able to continue to support our role of supporting apprenticeship plumbers, trainee plumbers through the awards systems, through grants and donations, and also not forgetting about the military connections in supporting young apprenticeships and the military training colleges. So that is very much my role, where I want to focus going forward. The other role is, I think we have to show that we can do work in the city. We can support the Lord Mayor in his initiatives, be they charitable, be they supporting really the industry and government going forward. We have an acute shortage of apprenticeships in the plumbing and heating world. Something like 73,000 new plumbing roles are having to be created before 2035. If we can support that in one small way, that would be a real tick in my box moving forward.
Yes, I agree very much. Looking forward to supporting the youth, the industry, and getting the number of qualified plumbers that we need. I think it's affecting the whole of the construction industry, and through our links with the construction livery groups. Now, I'm conscious that there are other allied trades and professions that are striving to achieve the same goal as us. And you mentioned right at the beginning of our chat about the green initiatives as well. I mean, climate change is affecting us all, and the plumbing and heating industry has a huge role to play in that. And if we could support the City of London in its initiative to be carbon neutral by 2050, along with the rest of the country, that would be, I think, a fabulous achievement.
Agreed with you. And in fact, our court has just signed off on the climate action plan for the company, and which has been lodged now with the Climate Action Interlivery Group at Guildhall. So it's really good that we're taking these steps forward. So going forward, Paul, you want to stay in the livery?
Oh, of course, yes. I mean, one of the things about becoming a liveryman is it's not a part-time, short-term experience. When you become a freeman of the company, a liveryman of the company, you are signing up for life. And I have such enjoyment, I get such satisfaction out of it. I can't think of not spending the rest of my life enjoying your company, the fellowship of all the other members of the company, and what we are trying to achieve in our aims and objectives. No, it's. I mentioned I've had a fabulous career, two careers if you like, one with the Royal Air Force, one with the plumbers, and I count myself very, very lucky indeed to have had such a wholesome and fulfilling experience.
I would support that, Paul, and say that it's the company offers fantastic fellowship. We proudly boast, I think, that we are the most, if not one of the most friendly companies in the livery world. And I think that's so true. And I have invited a lot of friends and guests along, and I'm sure it's the same with you, to our events. And they have said, what a lovely occasion. Really friendly, thoroughly enjoyable. The other thing I would say is that actually Penny, and I'm sure it's the same for Sue, has really enjoyed her time as mistress. She has attended a lot of consorts dues, in other words, other masters events, consorts events, and she's made lots of lovely friends, and I know that that will continue going forward. So it's the last building block I mentioned, fellowship, but it works.
Yes, it's the same, I think, for Sue as well. In fact, and for me, as a past master, one of the things you do at the end of your year as master, you form a past masters association, and we meet regularly for fellowship and friendship. And the consorts, the partners, spouses, they do their own thing as well. In fact, you could almost argue they have greater fun than we do as masters in terms of getting together. So as I said, it's now a lifelong experience for us, moving forward and enjoying our time together.
Absolutely. Paul,
Okay.
thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Charles. Fascinating discussion and chat.